Town Board to order on this 26th day of September 2023. Please rise if you're able and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's remain standing and join together for a brief moment of silence as we keep in our thoughts and prayers all the men and women of our armed services who bravely defend our freedoms at home and abroad each day. Let's pause for a moment in their honor. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, would you kindly call the roll?
Certainly. Get my chair roll. Okay, Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara. Present. Councilman Martell.
Present.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scavone.
Present.
Okay, so first order of business, I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes of our town board meeting of September 12th, 2023.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Before we do communications, let's do the walk-on packet. There's requests for an additional 10 resolutions to be added to our agenda. If anybody wants any of these separated out into individual votes, if not, we'll take them as a block. Just let me know. 44-269 authorizes the supervisor to execute a contract and purchases of police body-worn cameras from Axon Enterprise, Inc. 44282 is a notice of public hearing as it relates to an improvement to the Bridgehampton Beach Erosion Control District pursuant to Town Law, Section 202B. 44283, notice of public hearing as it relates to improvement to the Sagaponic Beach Erosion Control District pursuant to Town Law, Section 202B. 44311, authorized payment for emergency work performed. 44313, ratifies stipulation of settlement and release of claims and accepts resignation. 44314, which is Councilman Martell's resolution, authorizes construction of the Riverside Maritime Park Trail from the town of Huntington contract with the Land Tech Group, Inc. 44321, authorized supervisor to sign a contract with L.K. McLean Associates, P.C. to provide professional services for Tiana Beach Pavilion. That's also Councilman Martell. 44325, warrant number 18. 44328, notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 140, Community Preservation Fund to update administrative procedures for the CPF pilot plan payments. And 44330, notice of public hearing to consider adoption of the annual CPF pilot payment plan 2023 through 24 tax year. I'll make a motion to walk all 10 of those on.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. This requires a supermajority. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, it was
I'd like to,
unanimous.
Sunday, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor to a couple of these. I'll just give you the number,
Yes.
1, 6, 9, and 10. And I'm sure some others would too.
Okay, so Sunday, once you have that, I'm going to ask that you read the communications.
The following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the town of East Hampton, a public hearing notice, Village of Sag Harbor Board of Trustees, notice of adoption, zoning board of appeals, applications in Sag Harbor, Village of West Hampton Beach, zoning board of appeals in West Hampton Beach, New York State liquor license, 30-day advance notice to local municipalities for a new application at 6 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. Emails, letters, and land use applications have been received regarding the following: campaign promise suggestions, change of zone application entitled Liberty Gardens, County Road 39, Southampton, Southampton Elementary School safety concerns, zoning board of appeals application for 79 North Summit Boulevard, West Hampton. Following bids and requests for proposals were opened September 13th for Tesla electric vehicles for municipal works and a heavy haul tractor for waste management on September 20th a rebid for Diana Life Saving Station restoration. The following reports were received from the Town Comptroller, August 2023 monthly financial reports, and the Town Sole Assessor 2023-2024 CPF eligible parcel list. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
All right, thank you, Cindy. All right, we're going to move on to public hearings. We have 4 public hearings scheduled for this evening. In each case, the clerk will read the public hearing notice, and then we will have a presentation introducing the subject, and then we'll go to our audience here. We ask that you fill out a card, and then we will give you 3 minutes when called to make your comments known to the board. We also are doing this hybrid, so we have perhaps some people also in remote locations who will have a chance also to weigh in. All right, Madam Clerk, would you read the first public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 1, to consider enforcement action at 56 Cypress Avenue, Flanders, New York.
All right, and who is introducing this? Is that Mr.
Sean
Cambridge
is,
not here?
yeah, where's Sean? He's here.
He's here.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you get,
He probably wasn't expecting us to go this
do this
fast.
quickly. BS him with Chalky out.
You're on. We're in the first public hearing notice, sir.
Good morning. Good
This is
afternoon.
56 Cypress Avenue.
56 Cypress.
This is the supervisor. 6 Cypress is notice for an enforcement action owned by GTL Management. We are currently prosecuting in the Southampton Town Justice Court as well. I brought some photographs. You can see this is an open, unsecured building. Lots of debris, cinder blocks, all sorts of things here. We recommend that we do an enforcement action for cleanup and to board and secure the building. It has become an attractive nuisance. You can see these pictures are pretty egregious. This defendant is non-responsive in justice court. We've defaulted him upwards of $122,000.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Cambridge? All right. Let me ask first if there's somebody here representing the 56 Cypress, 56 Cypress Avenue in Flanders. Anyone? Okay, we'll go, I do have other cards, though. Angela Hunault. Angela?
Sean, do you want to submit those to the record?
It's just a notice that I read off.
The
The
pictures.
pictures.
Sure.
Once you show them, you have to submit them.
You should know that, you're an attorney. You
Get 'em
entered
off
it
for
as
evidence.
evidence.
Yeah.
Just one moment, we haven't started the timer yet.
You get extra time anyway.
All right, go ahead, Angela.
Good morning, Mr. Schneiderman and the board. Thank you for allowing us to speak. I am Angela Unwalt, the president of Franca Flanders Riverside Northampton Community Association. And on behalf of Franca, we support this going forward. We'd like to see actions take place.
Okay, thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
All right, it's the only card I have. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak on this public hearing? Okay, I do note, though, that several people from Franca who are here and support, with you. Okay, we'll go online. So if you were, if you're watching this meeting from a remote location and you want to speak at the first public hearing on enforcement action at 56 Cypress Avenue in Flanders, please click the raise hand icon. It should be found at the bottom of your screen.
There are no hands.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, hearing is closed. We'll move on to public hearing number 2. Madam Clerk?
Public hearing number 2, to consider enforcement action at 11 Flanders Road, Riverside.
All right, once again, Assistant Town Attorney Sean Cambridge will introduce this.
Okay, this is the gas station, the former gas station at the Circle. This was noticed for a collapsing canopy structure. Since we noticed this action, these folks retained an attorney, obtained an emergency demolition permit from our building department. and are working to get heavy equipment on site to remove this canopy. So I would recommend we open and take comments today, adjourn, and possibly adjourn the resolution on this. I have the feeling these folks will get this done.
Should we just leave the hearing open, just
For 2
adjourn it
weeks.
to another date?
I'd recommend that.
Okay.
Yeah. I spoke with Keith Brown, who was the attorney, and he did say that they're taking out a building permit and demolition permit to
And-
do the work as soon as they could.
Yes, they secured that permit. Chief Building Inspector McDermott was there Monday morning supervising. This is going well.
Just a
Okay.
demolition permit.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
they have a current application in asking for
That's correct. They've
a
been going through
number
the
of
planning board.
variances and.
Yeah, they've been going through the planning board for a number of years now on the application.
Okay.
Well known to the community.
I don't have any, thank you, Sean. I don't have any cards on this one. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard? All right, we'll go online. If you're watching from a remote location and want to be heard at public hearing number 2, this is your opportunity. Just click that raise hand icon.
There are no hands.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn the hearing until, what's the next day? It's the October date? October 8th?
October 10th.
10th.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you read the third public hearing? please?
Public hearing number 3 to consider enforcement action at 229 Flanders Road, Riverside.
Once again, Assistant Attorney Sean Cambridge will introduce this.
And again, this is a blighted property. This one is mostly construction material, furniture, that type of thing. Overflowing dumpster. I'll pass around the photos. Non-responsive. Defendant in justice court has been defaulted for several $1,000s as well. I'd ask the board to bring a forced cleanup action on this property.
Okay. Any questions for Sean? Nope. All right, we'll go to the audience. I have no cards. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? Angela? You know?
Thank you again. Angela Unault, President of Franca. On behalf of Franca, we would like to, we'd like action to be taken on this piece of property.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? All right, we'll go to our online audience. Is there anybody online who wishes to be heard at public hearing number 3, enforcement action at 229 Flanders Road in Riverside?
No hands.
All right, this one we can close, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll make a motion to close.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the hearing is closed. So we'll move on to the 4th public hearing notice. Madam Clerk?
Public hearing number 4 for community solar installation at North Sea Landfill, 1370 Majors Path, North Sea.
All right, our town engineer, Tom Houghton, will introduce this in a moment.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, ladies and gentlemen of the town board. Here to introduce the North Sea Landfill Community Solar Project. This is a project that has been 2 years in the making so far. In 2021, we evaluated the feasibility for the reuse of this capped landfill. It's a 3-cell landfill. 2 cells are a Superfund site, and a 3rd cell is a traditional landfill. From there, after we evaluated the feasibility, determined that this would be a beneficial reuse for the area, the town, our residents, we issued an RFP for proposals for a developer to come in and put a solar project on the landfill. We received 6 applications. We formed a committee within the town, within numerous departments. I think there were 7 members of that committee. We selected Kearsarge as the developer. They felt they were the most qualified, put the best package together for us, and that was in 2021. 6 months, 9 months later, we finished the design of the project. 12,000 plus solar panels. From there, we made application to PSEG for interconnect agreement which allows us to put that energy back on the grid. They have to make sure that the infrastructure in the area is sufficient to take that kind of electricity flowing off of the site. They gave us a 5 megawatt cap as to what we could put on the site in this area, and then we had Kearsarge design to that standard. From there, we have been making applications to the New York State DEC, both the Division of Hazardous Waste and Division of Materials Management. There's there's two agencies of the DEC involved just because of the nature of the Superfund site and our recycling operation as well. So we've been really going through kind of a tedious process with the DEC. We have received authorization from the EPA for this project as well, and we're currently wrapping things up with PSEG as well. So we're here tonight to have our public hearing for the project. We're looking to send this project to land management for admin site plan approval, and we're here to take any questions that the board may have as well. We have our developer, Dan Voss from Kearsarge, with us, and we also have one of our electrical consultants, Tom.
So what did we end up with a peak output on this 4 point something?
4.94 megawatts AC is our peak capacity. It includes our 3 cells. It includes additional panels within our previous composting operation. We reviewed our current operations, and we kind of projected that in the future we can keep our composting to the basically south of our leachate storage area. And it also includes a potential future component with the SYS roof. It's not set in stone yet. We're still working some things out, but PSEG has approved our capacity at 4.94 megawatts. So we went about as close to that 5 megawatt cap that we possibly could.
Thank you, Tom.
And I have Dan to answer some more technical questions if we have them.
Thanks.
Actually, if I could turn it over to Dan. Dan put together a little.
What's the construction schedule for this?
We're looking to get started in late October, early November. It really depends on our New York State DEC timeline. We expect to go to, if everything goes well, we expect to go to the planning department in October, followed by the building, electrical, and fire marshal reviews. But the DEC really controls our timeline at this point. We've been back and forth with them. We have our legal agreements worked out with them, but we're still waiting on their final review.
And the payment to the town is what, less 60 grand or something like that a year?
It's 20,000 per megawatt, and Frank can illustrate that a little further. But it'll be worked out once we get all the panels online, because then we'll know what our production is, and then it'll be back calculated from that. So however many megawatts we're actually able to produce, just with the variability of panels and the amount of sun that we receive per day, we'll be able to then determine the lease payment from that.
From an engineering perspective, putting the solar panels on top of the cap landfill doesn't present any issues for the integrity of the cap?
It has no issues with the integrity of the cap. It was designed by a professional engineer. We had PW Grosser review that design and certify that design, and now it's gone to the DEC, who has reviewed both of those certifications, the full design, our loading rate of the cap as well. It's a low pounds per square inch for the vehicles that are bringing equipment up. We expect no issues with this cap, and the DEC wouldn't let us build this project if they thought there would be issues with the integrity.
How high above the ground are the solar
I'm
panels?
going to
located?
bring Dan in to talk about those,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Just identify yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, thank you, Mr. Superintendent and ladies and gentlemen of the board. Dan Voss from Kearsarge Energy. I'm a senior director at Kearsarge and leading the project on their behalf, and happy to be working with the town of Southampton on this great project.
You can stand straight.
Okay, that's okay. All right. So just touching on that last question, the panels will sit about 8 to 10 feet above the ground to the leading edge. They sit at about an angle of 25 degrees, and the lower edge of the panel is about 3 feet above the deck, just to allow for snow and ensure we don't get shaded by low grass growth. I'm happy to take a bit of a walk through this if you would like, or I
Sure.
can just take questions. Okay, so as Tom said, the capacity on site right now, including the potential future rooftop, is 4.94 megawatts AC. We came to that number through two paths. One is we were capped at 5 megawatts by the utility. But moreover, in looking at the overall site, we had to exclude some land. So we had to exclude any slopes over 15%. And that's because of the construction of the cap. The way that the solar is built, it requires us to use concrete ballasts so we don't disturb the cap. And there's a limit to the slope that those can sit on. So anything over 15% slope, we had to eliminate. Had to leave room, as you can see, in these various areas to access the gas wells and the testing wells. Also, obviously, had to leave access ways for vehicles around the site. And as Tom said, after the initial proposal looked at the tops of the two caps, by evaluating the operations of the site, we were actually able to put what's called post-based or screw-based solar in this area here, which had previously been a composting area, but was determined to not be required. So we've really maximised the solar on site. We're using panels 550 watts in size, which is about as big as you can purchase and install today, and they're called bifacial panels, so they generate electricity from above and below. So we've really worked hard to maximise the production of the site. This area of the site is around about 3 megawatts worth of capacity, AC. This area, including the screw-mounted solar down here on the bottom, is about 1.5. So that's around about 4.5, and in the future potential area over here. The way that it'll be constructed, it's basically concrete blocks that are placed on top of the cap, so there's no disturbance to the cap, and then a metal racking structure, which is almost like a fence. Panels are then mounted to that. Trays sit on top of the ground that carry the electricity to inverters that are located into the racks, and then the energy moves through to the interconnection point with the utility, which will be at the entrance to the site. There's a little bit of equipment here at the entrance to the site, just where the meter sits and the disconnect sits, so the utility can access it, we can access it, the town can access it. I think that's sort of the high-level overview. During construction, we will be using this little bit of land here as a laydown area, or I should say over here, as a laydown area just to position equipment and materials. In fact, there are some panels out there now just waiting for the DEC approval so that we can get started. So that's the sort of overview of the construction of the site itself. I'll pause there if there are any questions about that piece.
The equipment at the interconnect portion, how big is that? Is it like a mini substation? Is it just a meter?
So it'll be a pad. It's to be determined, but it'll probably about 8 feet by 20 feet size pad in total, or maybe a couple of pads that make up that space. And it's basically a disconnecting device. They'll be about 5 to 6 feet in height.
Okay.
And not what you would imagine if you think about a substation. It'll be what you would expect to see at a school. So the sort of equipment with a disconnect and metering box that you would see at the entrance to a school.
Which angle are the solar panels directed?
So I always want to say north is that way, but so the panels are tilted to take the full solar axis, so that they're sloped to the south. Yeah.
In that case, north is...
North is this way here, so the panels
Right.
are sitting in that direction. Yeah.
South.
Are there any glare?
Yeah.
Is there any glare off the panels?
No. It's a fair question, but these are designed to absorb as much light as can possibly hit them, and beyond that, we've also looked at a question that's often asked is aircraft and FAA, and this area is not doesn't require an FAA study, but the panels are designed to capture as much of that light as possible, and ideally not have any reflection.
it's close to an inbound flight path into East Hampton Airport.
Right, yeah, so we ran there's an online tool that is used to determine whether or not you need to go for an FAA approval, and so we've run that to date.
It's a little north of here, so,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
What
I mean,
about,
I should note that these are built at airports under flight paths as well.
Right,
so,
right.
Presky has them.
Yeah, yeah.
so what about hurricanes? Are they rated for 150-mile-an-hour winds?
Yeah, so these are rated for, all the things you would expect, hail, wind activity, snow load, so it takes into account, the snow load on the racking itself. They're installed up and down the East Coast from, Hurricane Alley in Florida up to, the Northeast here where we have our nor'easters. So that's all designed in, and the ballast blocks are the principal tool there, the anchoring tool. And so the ballast blocks are designed to keep the system anchored to the ground.
Do you know the financial arrangement you have with the town in terms of, we're waiting until we find out exactly how many megawatts, right?
Right.
But it's anticipated.
Frank, probably.
I know, Frank, you've been working on this. I think
Yeah.
you told me like around 60,000 a year. Frank Sapone is deputy supervisor.
Thank you. It depends on, it's 20,000 per year per megawatt. So if we produce 4 megawatts, that's an $80,000 lease payment. If it's 4.5, then you multiply the 4.5 by the 20,000.
Sure.
So that's a variable, and we won't know the exact price until we flip the switch. And there's a period of testing once the project is in operation, so that we'll test the interconnectivity, the safety issues, and the consistent output capacity. But the metric is $20,000 per megawatt per year. The current contract agreement is for 20 years with 2 5-year options to renew upon mutual agreement of both parties.
Okay. And I guess Kearsarge has an agreement with LIPA to purchase the power that you produce.
Did you want to speak to the community?
The PPA, Frank?
Should you just talk about the relationship to LIPA?
Sure. So Kearsarge has a contract with LIPA for the interconnection. So we have what's called an interconnection services agreement that allows us to connect to the grid. And then there's an aggregation program that I think the board has reviewed previously, and
Right.
and that will take care of the administration of the credits. So we'll have a meter positioned at the entrance to the station here. It'll meter all of the energy that goes out onto the grid, and that gets converted into credits that the town is then going to be administering.
Okay, Frank, did you want to say something on that?
It's good to know that our lawyers are doing what they're paid to do. Mark reminded me that the contract we have allows for 4 renewals after the 20 years, not 2, so I was mistaken. Dan was alluding to the fact of the potential community benefit of providing energy bill credits to members of the community, up to 10% annually. It's a little challenging to compute what that is because it's a limited supply. 5 megawatts is not a lot of electricity, so somewhere between 500 and 700 PSEG clients who live in the town of Southampton may be eligible for that 10% energy bill credit. That's in general terms. We'll have to work out the particulars as we get to understand more of the capacity output of the facility.
All right, thank you. Just on the sourcing of your solar panels, is any of it from the United States, or is it all from foreign countries?
Well, so these particular panels were sourced from overseas. They were imported, but complied with the importation requirements on solar panels. The manufacturers of these solar panels are building manufacturing facilities in the south of the U.S. now. So going forward, with future projects, those same manufacturers will be onshore and producing them in the U.S.
And the inverters are separate, correct?
Right, so the inverters are what are called string inverters, so they basically sit at the ends of the rows, not every row, but at the ends of the rows of the panels. And the inverters turn the DC energy, so it's like a battery type energy, they turn the DC energy into AC energy that can then be used in appliances and plug loads. Transformers, which sit on pads in a couple of locations here, then take that energy and step it up to a level that can be used on the grid.
Perhaps you can talk about the installation.
Sure. So the installation team for the project, so Kearsarge Energy, I think you've heard about us previously. We've enlisted a really great local team, so local resources, local workers. The electrical contractor that we are working with right now is Eldor, Long Island-based, union-based electrical installer that has done 2 other composting facilities and landfill facilities on Long Island, which is the majority of this type of project that's being built on Long Island. We're working with Bob Governell at XCAV, and he would be familiar to the engineering team in the town here and many local towns. And so we'll have workers from the civil contractor, placing ballast blocks, taking care of the initial setup of the site, and then the electrical contractor will come through, so about 3 months of that work, and then the electrical contractor will come through and install all the electrical infrastructure. We have Weston and Sampson, a esteemed environmental science consulting organisation, working on the permitting, and they in fact were the permitting agent and civil designer for the other compost and landfill projects on Long Island I just described. And finally, Tom here from Correlate is an EPC contractor that is working with Eldor, and they have been working on this project as long as we have, since the RFP inception. So local labour force, prevailing wage, union labour, traineeships incorporated into this as well. So great for the community.
I actually have a Mark question.
Any other questions?
I have a Mark question, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could. So after the 20-year plan, we renew in 5-year increments, is there an option to renegotiate the terms of the contract?
Well, there's options to renew pursuant to the contract's
Okay.
terms, and it is a mutual option, so it's not that Kearsarge can decide unilaterally or the town, we both have to agree.
And if we decide not to proceed after 20 years, they're responsible for removing everything from site, correct?
That's exactly right, and they have 180 days to do it. If they
Okay.
fail to do it, the solar panels become ours, we could sell them or remove them ourselves.
Get the lawyer in.
Yes. Sorry, I went too far.
Thanks,
It'll be
Mark.
obsolete by that time.
There's also a decommissioning surety that's in place. So in that, yeah, if that were to happen, there is a decommissioning surety that's.
So have you had any of these projects come to end of life?
We are looking at repowering some projects now.
Do you
So-
leave like the bases and the infrastructure and just replace the panels at that point?
Yeah, so we haven't had to do that on any of our sites up to this point. So we were established in 2009, and so these panels and the infrastructure, it's 30 years easily, if not more. The actual performance of the panels degrades at only 0.5% per year. So the only reason you would need to upgrade is if there was a significantly more efficient panel that was produced in the future. But that would be the approach you would take.
Okay.
Yeah, you would replace the panels. The electrical infrastructure, is constrained by the utility interconnection. So really, the panel is the generating tool.
Any impacts to wildlife from heat or anything? Because there's just a lot of birds and there's a lot of hawks and even an eagle that's been in this area.
Yeah.
It's okay?
Yeah, so there will be a fence, but no more fencing. Well, there'll be a little bit of additional fencing put up along the access road here, just so that access to the actual solar array itself by people is limited. But it won't limit the current access for certainly bird life on site. The panels, we're doing agricultural or starting to develop agricultural projects right now. And it's been shown that actually the shading provided by the panels increases water retention in the soil and increases, in some cases, growth in the northeast, where we only have a limited growing season. So certainly would not impact the habitat up there.
In terms of thermal effects,
So the surface of the panels will get warm, but under the panels, yeah, it won't
above
increase.
it, you don't get a
No,
warm
not
column.
like an updraft.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
So let me just have a quick look here. I think I touched on most of the interesting points. Did I miss anything that you think? Yep, okay, great.
You said the life of the panel is 30 years?
So the life of the panels, the panels themselves have, well, it's increasing every year, but there's a 25-year guarantee. So they basically guarantee a certain degradation over that period of time. So if you think about it, it's like buying a car and them saying, 25 years from now it's going to be close to 90% as efficient and powerful as it is today. But the panels will endure. We just decommissioned a site to put in another facility that had been in place for over 40 years.
Did they ever get damaged?
They're designed not to, but there will be
I mean-
occasional failures just because of the manufacturing, and in that case, we just replace them.
Okay.
They're glass, copper, pretty basic tools, and so they're very low impact.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, thank you, Frank. We'll go to the public. Anybody who wishes to be heard at this fourth public hearing on allowing the solar array at the North Sea landfill site? All right, not seeing anyone, we'll go online. Let's give a moment. If you want to be heard and you're watching this remotely, click the raise hand icon. This is only for, right now, the fourth public hearing on establishing a solar array at the former landfill site in North Sea. All right, I'll make a motion to close.
Second?
We don't need to leave this open, Jim, for any reason, right?
No.
Okay, second by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Don, do we have to get comments from planning board on this, or no?
So due to the way, actually, Janice, do you want to jump in on that?
In which case, can we close it? Or do we need to leave the written record open? All right, so
For
why-
agency comments, yeah.
all right, so why don't I reconsider closing this, and I'll make the motion rather than to close it, to close the oral part of the hearing, but we'll leave the written record open for agency comments.
Do we have an idea
We just
what that time period is? Or we just leave it connected to the agency?
We can refer it,
Okay.
quickly. And
So what do you need, what do you need, 1 week?
You don't have to take an action after that. It's just that, it says that you're required to refer it.
Right, but at some point, have we already awarded the contract? or-
Yes.
Yes, so.
So this is just to take this
Referral.
and refer to the agency, so 1 week, 10 days, something
So
like that.
what's fair, 1 week?
We just had planning board, so 2 weeks would be good.
2?
All right, 2 weeks. All right, so I'll change it to close the hearing, but leave the written record open for
Going once?
2 weeks to the agency. So for agency comments, who was the second? Councilman Bouvier.
co-sponsor.
All right. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's it for public hearings. We're gonna move on to public portion. I do have a number of cards. We'll take the town hall audience first, and then we'll move on to the online audience. Guess we'll start with Sheila Pfeiffer.
This is public portion?
Yes, public portion.
Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here, and I'm here to support community choice aggregation. I'm sure that you all saw as the UN opened its climate summit last week, it stated, "The science is clear. To avoid the worst impacts of climate change, emissions need to be reduced by almost half by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. It went on to say, to achieve this, we need to end our reliance on fossil fuels and invest in alternative sources of energy. Southampton Town is to be much commended because you have already recognized this. And indeed, you are something of a leader in the field of preparing for and supporting sustainable solutions for climate change. There's a lovely sign right outside this building that everyone sees as they come in, declaring that Southampton is certified as a climate-smart community since November of 2017. And it was, in fact, one of the first towns in the state to be so certified. With this designation, Southampton is recognized for its actions to strengthen resiliency and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. In the intervening years, other measures have been taken. I'm not going to go through them all, but in March of 2022, the town board authorized the supervisor to sign the U.S. Department of Energy Better Climate Challenge Agreement, which contains these two clauses. Whereas, the goals and objectives of the sustainability plan state that the town should seek to become carbon neutral through a combination of conservation, efficiency, and alternative energy sources, and should pursue carbon neutrality for town facilities. Whereas by Resolution 2017-475, the town board established an additional energy goal for the town to meet 100% of the community-wide electricity consumption needs through renewable energy sources by the year 2025. Following this climate challenge agreement, the town embarked on creating a climate action plan. In preparation for preparing the climate action plan, a survey was conducted in 2022. And question 3 of this survey said, rank the following climate actions according to your level of interest, with most interested at the top.
30 seconds.
Transitioning to renewable energy was the top choice. So, in short, the town of Southampton has already committed itself to this visionary and very necessary course of action and should take this next step. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you,
Thank
Sheila.
you.
All right, next up is Alex Timlin.
Yep. Good evening, Town Supervisor and Board. My name's Alex Timlin. I live in Southampton Cove off of Noyak Road, right across from Town Point. And myself and some members of our board are here with a petition to have public safety concern taken a look at. The town engineer has been notified and said that he would look at this dangerous crossing to go from our community to Town Point, whether it's driving, walking. So if it's okay, I'd like to take a minute to read our summary and our what we propose. Is that okay?
Look, you got your 3 minutes.
Yep.
So.
Summary: the current environment for pedestrians from our community to cross Noyak Road has become near impossible without one taking a severe risk without getting mowed down by the motor vehicle traffic. Many of our residents have had near-death experiences just trying to walk to the Town Point community and back. This includes families with children and with strollers, elderly residents, people walking pets, just trying to take a simple walk to the beach. The turn on the road has vehicles speeding with little room to slow down. The specific location is the intersection, as I said, Cove Road and Noyak Road. So the petition we're asking for, we the residents of Southampton Cove, the Town Point community, and the Southampton town residents propose that safety precautions be taken by the town board and public safety officials. We propose that a standard, possibly white striped lines with signage be installed, maybe a push button to flash lights only when people are actually walking, because it would slow down traffic. And we think it would aid tremendously, and we have noticed that Bridgehampton has such an installation, and it's been very successful and popular. We do realize it's a problem all over, not just in our community, but we do walk regularly, and people have done it for generations, and now they actually cannot. So whatever the public safety folks and the engineers can conclude, where a proper place to cross or other safety considerations, we would be amenable to that, including the speeding problem. You know, I would ask when the engineer comes, if someone from law enforcement could come and try to cross the street in plain clothes and see how they make out. So we ask that.
30 seconds.
Thank you. So we have the petition here. We still have a number that we have to gather. So if it's okay, I can leave a copy for the record, and you can let us know the next steps.
And Alex, you've been talking with Tom Houghton? town engineer?
Via email, one of our board members has. He's going out to do other projects, I guess sidewalk stuff and other issues, and has said he would take a look at it.
And the liaison up in North Sea, I guess that would be.
Alex
Houston.
came to our North Sea CAC and we had a conversation about this and said that we'd have to have a conversation with Tom because we don't want, A, to put it in the wrong location, B, to put in a crosswalk and give people the false sense of security that they can go into the crosswalk and people are actually gonna stop for them. I think, it
Very
could
dangerous.
potentially be another problem, but, so we're gonna look at all of that and take Tom's recommendation and.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Bring it back to the
realistic. If the
community.
stripes are put in there tomorrow, it's no guarantee with the speeding.
Yeah.
So,
No, but unsignalized crosswalks are potentially very dangerous. Even if you push a button and the flashing lights, people will miss those too, but, we can certainly talk about
Tom's taking a
whether
look
there's
at it.
something that, because it's not all the time, that if you pushed a button, then you could actually stop traffic.
correct, yeah, it's not a red light, it's not a stop sign. Obviously, more signage would be needed, but I know in Bridgehampton, it took a death or two for that to get done, and we don't want that to happen.
They have over at the ambulance where they can, it's a blinking light, but it can turn to solid red.
Yeah, only when crossing, which is.
Yeah, but I'll leave that one to the engineers.
Yeah.
You just missed him.
Oh, okay.
He was sitting behind.
Alex, thank you for coming in.
Okay.
Hi, I'm over here, but I just wanted to say that that is an issue all up Noyak Road and other roads in the town. We've heard the same story in a number of places, pretty much from Long Beach to where you live, a little
Yeah.
bit past that, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very busy road,
yep.
as you know.
Thank you
live
so
there.
much.
Mm.
And should I leave a copy with
Alex
some?
has a background in public safety. I know Alex
Oh,
from
is that right?
the FDNY. He worked with my brother in Engine 21, so good to see you, Alex.
Yeah, Captain Billy. So I'll leave a copy with someone, or?
You could leave it
Town
with the
clerk.
town.
With the
Okay,
clerk,
thank
yeah.
you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so we're gonna go on to the next speaker. Looks like Mary Ann Eddy. Did I say that correctly?
That's right.
Mary Ann Eddy.
My apologies for the mysterious glasses, whatever, but I left my regular ones at home, so I'll use the scripted sunglasses to get up and back from the podium, and then I'll just try to wing it here with bare about my eyes. Let's see. So I'm here to talk about the CCA and the choice you have as to the default power supply. So, Mary Ann Eddy, I'm a resident of Sag Harbor. I'm about to celebrate my 20th anniversary there. I've been on the Harbor Committee there since 2015, which has got, of course, a lot of, concern about the water, the coastline, et cetera, the resiliency we have. And a member of the Environmental Advisory Committee there in Sag Harbor. And I appreciate and thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I want to thank you for the hard work. Not just the members of the town board here, but Frank Sapone, Lynn Arthur, because I've been hearing about this for years. There's so many projects that get going and people just get tired. It's just exhausting to get these kind of issues up and actually across the finish line. And on Long Island, Southampton is the first one to cross the finish line on CCA, and you deserve a lot of credit. I think a lot of people are watching, people are impressed, and you're an example of something that we're all very proud of. These efforts now are about to pay off. And I think there's a couple of ways you can look at how they're going to pay off. One, there's the financial costs, and you're going to be able to lower the cost of electricity for residents in Southampton town. CCAs have in the last 2 years for 64 different communities in New York State. I had no idea there were so many communities that signed on to CCA. They've lowered the cost of electricity by $28 million, not an insignificant amount of money. And they've also provided 1.5 million megawatts of renewable energy to their customers. These lowered costs are admirable. They're not to be discounted, but I think that there's the bigger opportunity of not just the forthright cost reduction you see in your monthly bill, and everybody's aware of their monthly budget, but there's also the hidden cost of using fossil fuels for a source of energy. And I think it's time to take this step. You have in front of you a decision about what your default power supply is going to be, and I really encourage you to go for the renewable option there. People can opt out, but I think you take a leadership position by saying that this is where we need to go.
30 seconds.
I think the example of the hidden costs climate problems are bringing us is the amount of money, which I've heard is $80,000 to $100,000 just for sand at Tiana Beach. I think there's elevating the road upon Ponquag Bridge. There's a lot of costs, and this is something where certainly the decision that you make in terms of the default power supply is not going to tip the balance by itself, but in your leadership and others joining on board, we do get closer to a tipping point. So I urge you to take
3
that
minutes.
decision very seriously. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Put my
Mary Ann.
glasses back on so I can see my seat. Thank you.
Thanks, Marianne. All right, next up is Joseph
Josephine.
Connor.
Oh. Well, Mr. Connor's coming up. I just want the board to know that Mary Ann Eddy is very active in the Harbor Committee in Sag Harbor and has been putting together funding for testing in Sag Harbor for the past 6 years, and the result is longitudinal analysis of the water in Sag Harbor, which is particularly, it's an impaired water body, but the municipalities and the overlapping municipalities involved are very complex, and she does a great job. She works with the East Hampton trustees, Southampton trustees, us. We just donated $2,000 again this year, and East Hampton Town, and private donations. So thank you, Mary Ann. I just want to, we don't get you at the podium very often, so I wanted to say that. Yeah.
Thank you, Marianne. Okay.
Thank you,
moving
sir.
on.
Appreciate it.
All right, Joseph.
Yeah, you guys know me as Jock Comer.
Jock, yes.
I want to thank you for your time once again. It's been some time since I've been here. I think it was midsummer last I came. We had a substantial problem at Wildwood Lake regarding the old bowling alley and the use of the town beach there. I wanted to thank you on behalf of the Wildwood Neighborhood Watch for the efforts not only of the Southampton PD but also the town board in terms of emergency resolutions to control the parking problem in and around Wildwood Lake. It is, once again, I'll remind you, an awesome resource. It is a beautiful spot to live. It is a beautiful part of the town. And it is going to require some further study on your part. I know that several of you will be leaving the board and others will be coming and maybe assuming new roles. Good luck on that, most notably. I did want to especially thank you for your efforts and for your ability to listen to what was going on. Rick, you were very helpful in that regard, and so was Kristen Doulos. But I do want to, once again, not admonish you, but remind you that the growth problems that we have in all of Southampton Town, in all of the East Hampton towns, are not going away. And most notably, Northampton is ripe for a lot of those problems, and Wildwood Lake is just one example of how to manage or not manage those problems. Additional efforts on behalf of the town, long ahead of next season's some are onslaught. And I call it an onslaught because in many ways, we don't consider the invasion of our town a friendly thing, and yet it's the most natural thing of all. People want to come to a beautiful place. They want to enjoy that beautiful spot. And that means everybody, those that are of means and those that are of little or no means. So you must anticipate. You must actually look forward, those of you that are still here and those of you that are going to have other roles in the town, and you must think about how to address these things, not just for Northampton and Wildwood Lake, but for the remainder of the town as well. So once again, to end on the best note possible, thank you so much for your help. We need more, and we look forward to working with you again next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Nice to hear when we get something right. Huh?
And we haven't stopped. We're still working with Kristen Doulos on a lot of different avenues of what's going on there, mainly from the budget to possibly, you know, people working at that location. We've also worked with the county and gotten permission to put some no parking on the county roads, which we weren't able to ticket people before, because as they moved back, the crossing the road became very unsafe. So there's a lot of things going on, so we're still working on it.
Good. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Josephine DiVincenzi.
Dr. D.
Good evening. I'm Joe DiVincenzi of Sag Harbor, former educator, school administrator, and a resident of the town for 37 years. I'm here tonight to urge the board to vote to select the 100% renewable energy option as the default power supply of your competitive bid for the Community Choice Aggregation Program. It's probably the most important vote that the town board will take to achieve the renewable energy goal that you set for yourself back in March of 2022. And this resolution that committed you to trying to reach 100% of the community-wide electrical consumption being from renewable sources by the year 2025 will certainly be advanced by this decision. And it's a very admirable choice. Given the climate crisis, what we've all experienced over this last few years. For the past 3 years, I've been involved with the work of Dorothy Riley and Sheila Piper, who you heard from before, both of whom live in the village of Southampton, to create the Carbon Crew Project. CREW standing for Carbon Reduction for Earth Well-Being. We brought hundreds of people together in small groups to inspire them and empower them to reverse global warming and build a regenerative future. We read, we discuss, we plan, we act. People are building personal climate action plans, and certainly the town's decision to move toward this renewable source of energy will go a long way to helping this coastal community deal with the issues of global warming. Since pricing is certainly a concern, I'll share with you through our reading and work that the fossil fuel industry around the globe has subsidized, through the governments around the globe, the fossil fuel industry has been subsidized to the tune of almost $5.3 trillion, or $10 million a minute. And if you consider that factor, which you're not seeing in
30
the
seconds.
pricing that you look at, it's actually a no-brainer. There's really little choice to be made on a pricing point. But certainly, in this crisis in our town, it's an opportunity, one that I think the town has shown leadership on, and hopefully, as most crises can do, they can split us apart or they can bring us together. We hope, and I support what Mary Ann had to say and Sheila, that you'll make this decision to move away from fossil fuels and move toward 100% renewable energy solution.
30
And I
seconds.
thank you in advance for continuing this important work for our town, for our environment, for our children, and for our regenerative future. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do want to say that North Sea project looks fabulous.
While I have you here.
Yes.
Because I haven't seen you
No,
in a while, Joe. Any progress on the Star Aquatic Center?
well, that's another night's discussion. I didn't come here to.
Can you update us at some point soon?
Absolutely.
We'd all like
You
to
tell
hear
me the
about that.
day and I'll be here.
All right, just to.
We
But
did
it-
have a recent meeting with Joe and some of the.
I've been
I haven't heard
working-
anything in a while, and
Okay.
I want to know that it's still alive and well.
It is alive and well, and we're making progress, and I'd be very happy to come back and talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to thank Jim for helping us
Okay.
through some issues.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Since we're all
Thank
saying
you.
who everybody is, that's my high school principal. Will always be Dr. D.
Dr. D. Dr. Joe. All right, Dolores Riley?
They got a liquor license. I think so.
Hi, Dolores Riley, Shinnecock Hills, Hampton Bays. I am once again here to talk about the movie theater, which I know compared to a great many other things, not, life-shattering or whatever. But I wrote a letter to Mr. Schneiderman and to the members of the board. I've talked many times at the planning board meetings. They've been postponing some of those meetings, and now the next one I think is in October. I'm getting a little tired of people saying to me, "Oh, I'm so glad the movie theater is staying open." I don't know that that is true, but I'm still hoping and praying that it is. What I wrote was, dear Supervisor Schneiderman and town board members, writing to you today ask for your support for the Hampton Bays Regal Movie Theater. I've spoken at many meetings about the importance of keeping it here. Until last month, I was feeling a bit hopeless, but there have been more developments. Cineworld, which you probably already know, but I will be handing out these things related to the movie theater, has emerged from bankruptcy, Chapter 11. Cineworld closed many theaters to avoid bankruptcy, but not the one in Hampton Bays, which hopefully everyone here is going to as many times a month as they can possibly manage. And they have expressed strong interest in keeping our movie theater open. Walter Morris, CEO of WBPE in Huntington, is continuing the current lease he has with Regal at reduced rent and has said that he would love to sign a new long-term lease with Cineworld. Since late May, the CVS issue has been moved forward, as I mentioned, apparently due to problems with the lease between Mr. Morris and CVS. I, as you can tell, do not want a CVS. There is a new part of new Cineworld, with a new CEO, Edward Akuma, who is strongly behind movie theaters that show movies in Spanish as well as English. Luckily, we've been doing that, our Regal movie theater, for at least a year. I wrote recently in the Southampton Press about how important it is to us and neighboring towns and hamlets. People even come from the North Fork, you have to take my word for it, to see movies there, because I think the one in Mattatuck has closed or doesn't show movies. I won't rehash the entire letter, but two things are that how much better Regal would be traffic-wise compared to CVS. CVS is open all the time, or open many, many hours. The movie theater is not. So there will be fewer cars, hopefully, keeping the movie theater. And it's important for tourism, something for families, teens, and adults to do instead of going to the park or to the beach.
30 seconds.
If our movie theater is destroyed, it would cost over $1 million to replace it a few years down the road. It makes no sense. Money is tight. Many companies are not willing to sink money into movie theaters right now. This is where you come in, and I'm going to pass this out, but I thought maybe there was some way, and I don't know if this is dead in the water or not, but there's some way that maybe you could make up some sort of a grant to lower the taxes on that strip mall where the movie theater is located, maybe for 3 years. And that might encourage Cineworld or Mr. Morris or somebody to keep the movie theater. And that's all I have to say. The movie theater, the wonderful manager, Mary Russo, I think her name is even talking about going to the schools, and if they're taking movie classes, she'll show them for free up on the movie screen. We don't have anything here, art-wise, that we can brag about. We have our beaches, we have our parks, but we need to keep, please, we need to keep the movie theater. And I don't know
Down
what
to
you
the
guys
Task
can
force is Sunday.
do,
Thank you.
but please, I beg you, if you can, I don't know where to go.
Right here, I'm the town clerk.
No, I mean,
Thank
not
you.
with that stuff. My plea,
I
okay?
was
Four
hoping,
minutes.
I was hoping Barbie would save the movies.
Well,
She may
Barbie
have.
helps a lot. They actually have huge nice Barbie and Oppenheimer.
And Oppenheimer, yeah.
But there's a lot of things that,
We're
Need to go
pointing
to
to
the
the
mic. Yeah,
microphone
the
because
microphone.
you're speaking where you are is not being recorded. so-
I'm so sorry.
So I
Yes,
was saying
Barbie and
that Barbie and
Oppenheimer
Oppenheimer-
was very exciting for me when I went there to get, my great niece was here
It got
and
people
we got,
back to the
we got
movies, yeah.
tickets and to see a line, to see a huge line of people like jostling like, oh, I hope we get in. I was so excited. And if we could just please, it's our one thing that we have for culture. And you guys talked about having a movie square or a cinema, remember? And I went to the planning board and they said, oh, go talk to you guys. So I'm talking to you guys. And I don't know if it's possible.
You know, in terms of tax abatements and things like that, typically, you know, if it was, let's say, a not-for-profit, they would, and they own the building, they could potentially be exempt. This is not a not-for-profit owner or tenant, and, you know, a tax abatement for cultural uses like this, we can't create our own tax abatements. We as a board, only New York State can give us areas where we can lower taxes. And there are a number of areas, but I'm not aware of any for this type of thing. It's not that, you know, we all would, I think, love to see the movie theater stay. It has to be a viable business. And yeah, I know people are being encouraged to go to the movies and make it more viable. And I hope that that works. But ultimately, we can't force them to continue in a business if it's not profitable, and it would be a shame. You know, if other movie theaters or performing arts centers where they've been in historic buildings, we've found ways to help support it. But it has to be qualified in a historic district, in a contributing structure. So it's not for lack of wanting to see it stay there. We all would love to see it stay, but we're limited as to what tools we have. Anyway, with that.
Thank you, and if you run into some planning board people, you can just chat them up.
All right, so our last card is Mr. Raymond D'Angelo. Newly minted Vice President of the Hampton Bays Civic. yeah?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, tonight I'm going to be talking, I'm also the president of the Italian American Association of Southampton. And
Italian,
I'm going to be talking about, I think as I do every year, about Columbus Day and the needs to keep it Columbus Day. And Indigenous People Day, which I think they should have a day, should be another day, but not interfere with Columbus Day. I don't want to touch this thing. You know, Italian-American ancestors fled horrible treatment and abject poverty in their homeland, much like current immigrants, asylum seekers are coming today. As immigrants to America in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, they suffered racism, discrimination. In 1891, 11 innocent Italians, they were tried and they were found not guilty. Americans were lynched in the largest lynching in U.S. history. This was in New Orleans. Other lynchings and violent acts proliferated. In 1892, President Benjamin Harris declared the 400th anniversary of Columbus's arrival in the New World to be celebrated as Columbus Day. But this day was never really about Columbus. It was used to be counted a negative treatment of Italian Americans in this terrible act. The Italian American community seized on this, and Columbus Day statues and ceremonies enable us to celebrate our great heritage, and for generations has been symbolized us as a, pardon me, an ancestors' perseverance in face of this mass discrimination. So this day is always about Italian heritage, and it's not about Columbus. They seized on it to cover this terrible behavior which happened in New Orleans. And I think it's important to keep reminding everybody that this is the point of it. You know, like when I was in school, I never knew anything about this. You know, Columbus, you know, we made the 3 ships and that was it, and that he came and discovered America. But this day is really about Italian heritage and the contributions that we made to this country. There's some facts. During the Second War, the highest number of casualties killed and wounded were Italian Americans. On a personal note, my whole family's buried in that Calvin Cemetery. My uncle was killed in action. My father was severely wounded in D-Day. So it's very important. This is an emotional issue, personally, and also I think to a lot of Italian Americans. So I want to emphasize to you, if you ever have notions to sort of like desecrate this day with making it Indigenous Peoples Day, it's not acceptable to our community in any way. I do feel, when I was the chairman of the CAC, I supported the Shinnecock Nation. I think they deserve their day. I understand they've been mistreated, but they should have a different day, not our day. So this is very important. I want you all to realize how important it is to Italian Americans. And
30 seconds.
One of the things that I, even today, like it's hard. It's just the way the whole thing is depicted. It's depicted about Columbus coming here, and of course he came and discovered the world. They enslaved the indigenous peoples and whatnot. And I don't want to get into that argument. It's not about Columbus. This is, it was never about Columbus. They should have picked another name for the day, and we probably wouldn't have this problem. So anyway, I appreciate your understanding of this situation, and I know you're all going to be sensitive to it now in the future. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
Oh, one thing I was just going to say about, I wasn't going to speak, a couple of speakers about this plan, about the electrical plan to get it from renewable sources. I was just reading a thing about in Westchester, many of the participants now are dropping out because the cost has gone up 25%. And I questioned some of the figures these ladies were laying on you, but that's for another day. I'll be more prepared to do that. But thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Rick.
Grazie.
All right, we're going to go to our online audience. We're still in public portion. Speakers can speak about any topic they wish. You need to click the raise hand icon if you want your comments to be heard by the town board.
I have no hands.
All right, I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So we're going to go to our resolution. The first one is being offered by Councilman Tommy John Scavone. Tommy John?
Thank you. Town Board Resolution 1005 of 2023 is a resolution of adoption amending Chapter 164-6.5, penalties to increase the penalty for 164-6.4, hazardous accumulations.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Approved.
I didn't see that on here.
Is there an issue? I'm sorry.
It's being heard today.
Oh, okay. In the notice of adoption, I'd like to, I guess, retroactively make a motion to change the date from September 12th to today's date, 2023. Is that a Scribner's thing, or is that?
Where is it?
Oh,
Notice of adoption, page 5.
Yeah, I see it. It's September 12th, 2023. Oh,
Should be
that's-
26th.
Do we need to amend?
You need to amend it because you're hearing it tonight. It's
Okay.
effective
All right, so
tonight.
just.
Motion to amend the resolution to change September 12th, 2023 to September 26th, 2023, and this is located in the notice of adoption.
And then Rick will.
Yeah, same second.
Same second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, now motion to
And
approve as amended, same
motion to
second,
approve
all
as
in
amended.
favor? Aye. Okay, so now it's approved as amended.
Who's the second?
Councilman Martell on all of
Thank
those
you.
motions.
Town Board Resolution 1004 of 2023. This is going to be withdrawn. There's companion legislation, which is deeper in the packet. I move to withdraw.
So that's considered, would the clerk consider that withdrawn? Before I move on to the next resolution, is anybody looking for me to take anything out of order here? John, is there a resolution in the packet you're waiting on?
Oh, it's the last one, that'd be great.
And Janice, is that, this? All right. Well, I don't know. Well, we don't know how we're gonna vote yet, so.
Yeah.
He's 73.
11:30?
All right, so I guess it's resolution 1130? Is that the one?
Yeah.
On page, found on page 74. All right, it's a secret. All right, so I will make a motion to take resolution 1130 of 2023 out of order.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and actually I need to amend this. So let me just see what the amendment is. On page 76, it has that list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in terms of, I guess, routing. And then it says, there's a semicolon and it says and. I need to add the word be it further resolved and take out the whereas there. And then, on the next page is a very lengthy list of different agencies. I need to add a 14th, Suffolk County Planning Commission, care of Andrew Frayling, Chief Planner, H. Lee Dennison Building, P.O. Box 6100, Hopog, New York 11788. Sunday, did you get that?
I did, yes.
Okay, so I will make a motion to amend as I just described.
So, second?
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now let me read it. So, Resolution 1130 of 2023, resolution to accept and file a notice of completion of final environmental impacts statement, FEIS, in connection with the NRP Group Zone Change application entitled The Preserve at South Country Road, Quayock.
On the motion?
So let's get a second. So this is
Take
to
my second.
approve as amended, seconded by Councilman Bouvier. On the motion, go ahead, John.
Just wanted to be clear about the 78 units and the one managers. Yes,
All right, Jen
because I know it
Shearer,
had gone back
our
and forth a little bit.
Town Planning and Development Administrator.
You got
All
it.
right.
Only took me how many years?
8.
Well, yeah, I figured.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. This is the final environmental impact statement for the zone change application known as the Preserve at South Country Road in Quayock. It started out as an elect to consider for 104 units. We had,
Actually, more.
140.
180.
well, you only elected 104.
Right,
They
right,
did, you know,
They
propose
started
a
at
lot,
180, it
but
went
that
to
was,
104.
brought it back down to
We
reality.
considered it at 104.
Considered it, elected to consider at 104.
Some of us did.
This is one of our, I like to say it's successful in that we heard a lot of testimony. There was a lot of concern about the sort of older, it was once mined, it's got like hills and interesting microclimate landscape. And the applicant in the FEIS talks about how they can move away from that and shrink the yield. And so the people that were on the side road, Carwin Lane, they just built new houses. Now they'll be looking at preserved woodland. It's shrunk in, so the trailer park on the other side is also looking at a nice hedgerow buffer. And they're really, and from the road, you'll have a 50-foot buffer. So, I mean, I think that when it comes to, we need the density because we're in dire straits as far as affordable housing, but here's an example of how they were able to shrink that yield from 104 units down to 78 units to be offered in a lottery for people who are desperately in need of housing, and then 1 unit as a manager unit. So under 80, and woodland, open space, nice architecture, lots of buffers, sewage treatment. I think, you know,
With the option for the trailer park to connect at some point,
So
if they can work that out.
yes.
Possibly. Janice, can I just ask you procedurally, because secret, I think, can be confusing to everybody. So this, what we're being asked today is to basically deem the FEIS complete? This is, or is this also a finding statement?
No, it's not a finding statement.
This is,
So it does in the resolution. So
this says you
secret,
have all the questions answered, right?
right, so draft environmental, so it starts out just quickly. Scope says, what do we need to know about in order to look at the impacts? The DEIS looks at those impacts. We have a public period where people comment on it. We digest that information in a final environmental impact statement, and that is your document where you can look at it and say, I don't think we are adequately describing this, or I think we are. And when you do think that we are adequately answering the questions and coming to conclusions, then you
so
say
you
it's
feel
complete.
here
They've answered
that-
all the questions we've had. They've made project modifications. They've mitigated the impacts to the extent that they can, and you have enough information to weigh it all out and make a decision. So the weighing it all out is the findings, and then it comes to a decision. So that's how it
So
works.
this is just saying that we have all the information we need.
To weigh it all out and make a decision.
So we're not asking for anything else, no supplemental
No
information.
supplemental, no further information. You feel satisfied that
and
they've
you
answered your
feel-
questions.
You feel like you have all the questions answered?
I do, because in the rare case here, the applicant has, you know, reduced the yield, done all the, you know, tried to mitigate every impact that we, you know, were worried about. They really want to fit into the context of the community. And, you know, while it's not the, you know, downtown where we love to have the density, it's not that far away, and people could ride their bikes or whatever into, you know, West Hampton or, you know, those
But it
areas,
is
so.
in itself a sort of a community.
In and of itself,
might
it's a
not be downtown,
community.
but
They
it's a
have
community.
hiking trails. They'll have little, like, kind of recreational amenities, barbecue, you know, a nice trail around it. And I think that, you know, the planning board may have further modifications they want to make to the site plan. The one you've seen is just a concept plan, really, but the process kind of worked here, which is nice.
All right, any other questions?
No?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more point. We added in there that even though the final environmental impact statement, you just have then findings, it gives, opens the record for 10 days so people could comment because no one had the opportunity to speak about this reduced density alternative. So it does allow for you to get those comments into the record and then digest them in time for you to make findings. So it takes care of that, like, project change by opening the record for 10 days.
And it was reduced to?
79.
Seven-
It's 78 in the lottery.
78 plus one manager's suite.
Correct.
Okay. And so originally, 6 units per acre to get, they don't need all 17 acres to achieve that at 6 units an acre. So they're using less than 17 acres now.
Right.
So is.
Oh, don't ask me to do the math right now, but
No,
yes.
but there may be some land left over for preservation.
Yeah, we can do like a conservation easement, and they're still doing what the MFPRD is designed to do, which is a 25% set aside of open space. So in addition to the 25% set aside, they'll also have a set aside, you know, it's not conditioned on the zone change, it's at their own will, that they're interested in pursuing the town to negotiate a conservation easement on that area.
Okay. I have no further questions. Anybody?
Nope.
All right,
Thank you.
Janice. You may be seated. Okay, so we had a motion, a second. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll call the vote. All in favor to approve as amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Resolution 1130 is approved as amended.
Good night.
Good night. All right, let's see. I think we're on 1025 on page 8. Of 23, authorize supervisor to sign a lease with trustees for office space at 240 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, New York. I'll make a motion to table.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Where are
Aye.
we right now? I'm lost.
Oh, all right, so
Page
that,
10.
we just
Page 10,
tabled
right?
to our next meeting, Resolution 1025. Now we're on 1075, authorize change order for Round Pond Stormwater Improvements with Delalio Coal and Stone Company, Inc., DB.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1076 of 23, authorized change order for the mechanical portion of the Southampton Volunteer Ambulance Facility with Intricate Tech Solutions Ltd.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
I approve. 1077 of 23, authorized purchase of bathroom repairs at Police Department with Macaroon Plumbing, Inc.,
Good.
using Suffolk County contract.
Macaroni.
Macaroon?
Second.
Macaroni? How do you say it?
Hey.
Macaron?
Macaroon.
Macaron.
I believe it's Macaroni.
Macaroni. Macaroni, I'm hearing down here.
Macaroon,
It's made
macaron.
of Irish there.
Well, it's Italian-American Heritage Day. So did I not say it right? All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by giggling Councilwoman at the end. Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Town Board Resolution 1078 of 2023, authorized purchases from Suffolk County contract with Moreland Hose and Belting Corporation for industrial hoses and fittings.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 1079 of 23, co-sponsored by Councilman Bouvier and Councilman Schiavone, authorized supervisor to sign a contract with EnviroScience Consultants, Inc. to provide asbestos project monitoring at 1194 Flanders Road, Flanders.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1080 of 2023, authorized supervisor to sign a contract with LK McLean Associates, P.C. for engineering, design, and permitting services at Bay Avenue East, Hampton Bays.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1081, 2023, authorized supervisor to sign a contract with LK McLean Associates, P.C. for engineering, design, and permitting services for shoreline stabilization at North Sea Road in Southampton.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1082 of 2023, authorized supervisor to sign a contract with State University of New York at Stony Brook School of Health Professions for a one-day mini health fair at Southampton Senior Services, Hampton Bays Senior Center.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1083 of 2023 to authorize the supervisor to sign a reassignment agreement from Prime Gov to Granicus LLC.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1084 of 23, co-sponsored by Councilman Bouvier, authorized the supervisor to sign an amended contract with Louis K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Surveyors, P.C., for sanitary system removal and replacement design services.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1085 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, authorized the purchase of Delisle Concrete Corp. for ADA improvements at Ludlam Avenue Park in Riverside.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1086, 23, authorized supervisor to amend resolution 2023-54, a professional services agreement with Leonard J. Marchese, MBA, CPA.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1087 of 23, co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier, authorize the supervisor to execute an extended agreement with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Suffolk County to partner with the town for passive permeable reactive barriers at Riverside Maritime Park.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 1088 of 23, co-sponsored with the rest of you. Authorize the supervisor to sign 2023 extended agreement with the National Coalition Building Institute in exchange for professional services to create an employee survey and to conduct diversity training.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1089 of 2023, co-sponsored with the entire board. Authorize the supervisor to sign, it should be an amended agreement for awards of Community Preservation Fund, CPF, 20% Water Quality Improvement Project Funds for Susan's Illusion LLC, Armin and Judy.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution ID 1090 of 2023, authorize the supervisor to sign the 2023 East Quogue Fire Department, Inc. Hamlet Services Grant.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1091 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone and Supervisor Schneiderman, to authorize the transfer of properties to the Town of Southampton Housing Authority and Habitat for Humanity for the development of affordable housing.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1092 of 23, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract for Tesla electric vehicles.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1093 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, is to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for heavy haul tractor with Trucks Incorporated, doing business as Long Island Freightliner.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1094 of 23, co-sponsored with the full board. Recall and amend Resolution 2023-344. Award and authorize supervisor to sign contract with Passport Labs, Inc. to furnish and install integrated parking management.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution ID 1095 of 2023, resolution to establish a restricted account and to accept the bequest of Gisela Jean Bernhard on behalf of the Town of Southampton Senior Center.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1096 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, the 2023 notice to bidders for Sierra 1500 four-wheel drive crew elevation.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1097 of 2023, the 2023 notice to bidders for the V-Box sand and salt spreader.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 1098 of 23, accept, award, and authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with New York Department of Homeland Security, Emergency Services, I think, DHSES, as administrator for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. On 1099 of 23, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, accept monies from Governor's Traffic Safety Committee to participate in statewide child passenger safety program.
Second?
Second by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution ID 1100 of 2023, accept monies from the governor's, co-sponsored with Supervisor Schneiderman and Councilman Schiavone, accept monies from the governor's Traffic Safety Committee for the Town of Southampton Police Department's Traffic Safety Services Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone.
Wait,
Scavone.
Sunday, there's a Scribner's error, and it says in the third whereas where it says the governor's, there's a question mark where there should be an apostrophe.
All right, it was seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. 1101 of 2023 amends the 23 budget for various departments.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1102 of 23 amends the 23 to 27 capital budget and add capital project Dune Road elevation report.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1103 of 23, authorized closure of capital projects.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1104 of 23, authorize the town to reimburse New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal the deductible for bodily injury and property damage claims.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1105 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell. Resolution authorizing enforcement action at 56 Cypress Avenue, Flanders, New York.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. We had the hearing earlier. This is one we closed. And I think some pictures was distributed through the clerk. Any discussion on this? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution ID 1106 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell. Resolution authorizing enforcement action at 11 Flanders Road, Riverside. I'd like to table.
I'd like to make a motion to table. We adjourn the hearing, so we have to table. All right, Councilman Martell was
Second,
seconding. The motion to table, all in favor?
Aye.
The resolution is tabled.
Town Board Resolution 1107 of 2023, resolution authorizing enforcement action at 229 Flanders Road, Riverside.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. We had a hearing on this. That was closed. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1108 of 2023. This is a resolution of adoption amending Chapter 164-6.4, hazardous accumulations to enhance enforcement ability. This is the companion legislation to the first resolution that we've heard tonight.
I'll second. We do have on the motion, we did get a letter from Public Safety supporting, the department supporting the request here for this change, correct?
Yes. There is a Scribner's error as well. In the third page, letter E should be letter D, the exemptions portion. Right, we don't have, do I have to make, no.
Oh, it should be D.
There's no D.
Yeah, there's no D, so.
Although E is
Just
more
want to say, I
alliterative.
don't type these all up,
No.
so they're not my Scribner's errors. I
Right,
just want the
they're
public
not.
to understand this, because
Well, I
there's a
mean,
lot of
is
them
that-
piling up here, and I
I
just.
missed
Jim,
it,
does
too.
that
No, no,
qualify as
I'm
a
just-
Scribner's error, or do we need to amend it to change the E to a D?
I think it's a script error for sure.
All right. If you say so, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, I like the E with the exemption, though.
There's no substance to the letter. It's a Scribner's error.
So, so again, it was supported by Public Safety. I want to thank the sponsor for making some modifications. I think it made the bill a better bill. I think this is an important topic, so we have motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Board.
Approved unanimously. All right, 1109 of 2023, acknowledge transfer of development rights and authorize supervisor to execute covenant and restriction as it relates to said transfer.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1110 of 2023, authorized waiver of Parks and Recreation Facilities use fee for the Hampton Bays Lions Club 12th Annual Over the Bridge 10K Run and 5K Run Walk on September 16, 2023.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1111 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, is authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Hampton-based Union Free School District Homecoming Parade on October 14th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scrivoni, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1112 of 2023, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Fire Department Holiday on Main event on December 2nd, 2023, from 2 to 7, and that is co-sponsored by the entire board.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Resolution 2023-1113, accepts retirement of Police Officer Robert Arnson from Southampton Town Police Department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. And just on the motion, we thank Officer Arnson for his service to the town and certainly wish him all the best in his retirement. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Resolution 1114 of 2023 accepts resignation of a records management assistant in town clerk's office.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. Anything on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Resolution 1115 of 23 appoints Anka Palagita to driver messenger position in controller's office.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved, and congratulations to Anka. 1116 of 23 appoints Seamus Conlon to senior office assistant position in engineering.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved, and congratulations to Seamus. Seamus?
Seamus.
Seamus.
Seamus?
Yes.
It's Gaelic for James.
That's how you say it? Who's-
Seamus, yeah.
Seamus.
Yeah.
You're the Irish guy.
Yeah, that's my mom called me that all growing up. Seamus.
Seamus, even though it's S-E-A,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's pronounced with a sh. All right, Seamus. Shame on me for not.
Seamus on you.
Seamus on me, all right. So, and congratulations to Seamus. All right, 1117 of 2023 appoints Elizabeth Dorgan. Am I saying that one right?
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
senior office
like
assistant
the same
position in municipal works. Is that like Drogan or something?
No. Second.
So was the next one.
Probably is. Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You got my vote on the other.
Approved, and congratulations to Elizabeth. Resolution 1118 of 23 appoints Craig Carroll to maintenance mechanic 1 position in municipal works.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1119 of 2023 appoints Robert McConnell to custodial worker 1 position in municipal works.
Second.
Seconded by
Wondering what I was gonna.
Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
I was waiting
approved.
for the Scottish one.
And congratulations to Robert. 1120 of 23 appoints Felicia Snyder to, I can say Schneider, that's easy for me. Appoints Felicia Snyder to assessment aide position in assessor's office.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved, and
Aye.
congratulations to Felicia. 1121 of 2023 appoints Kevin McCarroll to audiovisual production specialist position in public info and communications.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved, and congratulations to Kevin. All right. The next one, I'm going to withdraw. This is 2023-1122. The candidate declined. So we'll move on. So consider 1122 withdrawn, please. 11/23 of 2023 appoints Police Officer Academy.
Second.
Lucas Sidor. Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approve. All right, 11/24 of 2023 appoints Tyler Wist to account trainee position in Finance Department. Great.
Second?
Not so easy to find. Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I approved, and congratulations to Tyler.
Town Board Resolution 1125 of 2023, notice of public hearing to consider enactment of Town Code Section 67-A entitled Traffic Violation Bureau Enforcement of Civil Violation of New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, VTL, Chapter 1174-A, hearing before Administrative Law Judge.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. Any discussion on this? This hearing is October 10th, 1 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved.
Town Board Resolution 1126 of 2023, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, is a notice of public hearing for proposed recipients of the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
I approve that also. Well, that's October 24th. I'm sorry. It's an evening meeting. October 24th at
At
6
6.
PM. Did we just vote? We did. All in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Yes, okay. 11/27 and 23, notice of public hearing to consider a change in non-conforming use at 424 North Sea Road in North Sea.
Second?
Second by Councilwoman McNamara. This would be October 24th, 2023 at 6 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1128 of 2023, co-sponsored by the entire board. Notice of public hearing to consider the designation of a historic district in the hamlet of Bridgehampton to be known as the Bridgehampton Bull's Head Main Street Historic District.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Poirier. Tommy John, did all the changes that needed to get made?
There's just
It was
one.
just like minor
I don't see any,
address.
the address changes.
Yeah.
The tax map
Yeah, there were
numbers.
two swapped.
Also, everything is corrected, had been corrected.
I think they were connected, corrected with the draft.
Yeah, it was-
Review.
yeah, that's what I'm just double checking.
Yes,
Because I know the earlier draft had a couple errors.
right.
Okay, so just on the motion, it's just to set the public hearing, and I know the clerk will, be notifying, I guess, in writing, the property owners involved here, but I think it's really important that we allow public debate on putting some regulations in place for, downtown Bridgehampton, where it still has managed to retain quite a bit of its historic character, but that is certainly in jeopardy without having some rules in place to govern future growth. So I think it's an important debate. I just wanted to thank everybody who worked on this, especially Ed Wesnowski and town historian Julie Green. So I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. So that hearing, let me just find the date here.
24th of October.
The 24th of October?
Yep,
And what time is that?
6 PM.
6 o'clock.
It's an evening meeting. Does it usually say it at the, where is the date on this?
It was
on there.
actually,
It's usually in bold toward the end.
Mm.
but it
I saw
was,
it.
I remember it was
Yeah,
contained.
on page 68. Tuesday
Oh,
after.
yeah, Tuesday, October
Right,
24th.
it was just, there it is on page 60, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, at 6 PM. Okay, good.
Town Board Resolution 1129 of 2023, road review application for 67 Laurel, LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map, as indicated in the resolution, situated at Sag Harbor, is accepted.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Last one we did.
11th, last one we took out of order, so that gets us to the
Walk-on.
walk-on packet. All right, do these in the order they're presented. 44269, authorize the supervisor to execute contract and purchases of police body-worn cameras from Axon Enterprise, Inc.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone, who's liaison with me to public, to the police department.
I'd like to be on that as well.
Me as well.
Just to note that that this subject first arose out of the Antibodies Task Force many years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm really nice to
It was
see
also
that.
a recommendation of our clerk committee,
Mhm.
which was chaired by late Chief Skrinnecki.
Yep.
Just a tremendous amount of work has gone into testing different systems, piloting. A lot of our officers engaged in these pilot programs, and I wanted to also, yes, of course, thank those groups, the people involved in the clerk committee, as well as Anti-Bias Task Force. You know, it's been a lot of work to this point. Chief Kiernan has spent a lot of time on this, trying to get it right, trying to negotiate a good deal, trying to come up with a system that makes sense. I spent a lot of time with Eric Breitweiser as well on this issue, representing the Police Benevolent Association and the union. So it took a long time. I would have probably wanted to roll these out years ago. It was a hot topic, certainly, after George Floyd died out in Minneapolis, yeah. So, but there's been a number of high-profile circumstances that have caused the public to really say that this is good for everybody. It's good for the police officers, it's good for the public, it helps build trust, it helps build a record. And I'm glad we're reaching this point before I leave office, where we can actually get these body-worn cameras on our police officers. So to everybody, this was a major team effort that got us to this point, and
It
we're
was.
very happy that we're here. I believe it's the same system that the county is using, and that will also, I think, will help in terms of being able to share information.
I'd like to note that members of our police department were on the clerk committee, and they worked on this as well, as you said. And, you know, special thanks to the PBA who, you know, we negotiated this with them, and they're going to be the ones wearing these things, and they're out in the field, on the front line.
Yeah, not just
Yeah.
PBA, actually. You're gonna have some
The
of the
superior
SOA
officers,
members wearing
right.
it too. Yes.
So we appreciate
Certainly our
and support them.
sergeants and
Yeah.
lieutenants, they're all gonna be wearing, when they're in the field, they're wearing body-worn cameras.
Mhm.
So, all right, any other conversation, discussion? All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, next up is Resolution 44282. Notice of public hearing as it relates to an improvement to the Bridgehampton Beach Erosion Control District pursuant to Town Law 202B.
Second?
Seconded, seconded by Councilman Martell. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Very similar is the next one, 44283. Notice of public hearing as relates to an improvement to the Sagaponic Beach Erosion Control District pursuant to Town Law, Section 202B.
Second.
So the first one was Bridgehampton, this one is Sagaponic. Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 44311, authorized payment for emergency work performed.
Second?
Second by Councilman Martell. This has got to be to Mezaneski. Let me just
Yep.
find it.
Yeah, it was the
Southampton
Storm
excavation.
Southampton
Excavation.
Yeah,
Hurricane
Southampton
labor.
excavation, that's the $84,000 worth of sand that was moved in very quickly to prevent a breach. It's just a week ago?
Yeah.
Wow. Just over a week ago. So now we have to pay for the sand. But it's there and it's shoring up that area. All right, so we had a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. And I'm thankful that the contractors acted so quickly, as well as the county and the police and the bay constables and fire marshals and everybody else in the highway department. The highway department did a lot of work, an awful lot of work. All right, 44313, ratify stipulation of settlement and release of claims and accept resignation.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution ID 44314, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorized construction of the Riverside Maritime Park Trail from the Town of Huntington contract with the Land Tech Group Incorporated.
I'd like to be added Sunday.
I have questions on this, but let's get is Councilwoman McNamara wants to be added, Councilman Schiavone, you seconding?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that was added.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we haven't really brought this to work session. So is this the piece on our section or the county section? And did the county sign off it's on their section? Because the trail that I saw and the parking, I wasn't crazy about. It didn't really have much of a view of the water, and I wanted to sort of get those catwalks out to the water's edge. So we're also,
So, yeah, to the best of my knowledge, this goes back to the original plan. It's the original walkway that goes through the center of the entire park.
Yeah, that was the one in conjunction with the county that was
Yes.
presented at Franca.
Yeah.
is there any way we can table this and so I can see what the actual plan is? And it goes through the entire park, and, well, the county piece, we can't use CPF funds to pay for the trail construction. We can on the CPF portion, which is the, one half of the park, basically. But I didn't think that we had finalized the plans. I know they had changed the lid. Is there comfort station, is there parking?
Yeah, I checked with Janice just on the trail part of it, and she confirmed that it was similar to the old plan that we had, the original one from 2020. But we can table this if you want to take another look at it.
And we wanted to add access ways to the water from this trail.
Yeah, but my concern was this trail, like you couldn't see the water from the trail. But if we built the elevated catwalks along the water's edge, that, I don't know. Yeah, could we have a conversation about before we award the bid? So I'll make a motion
We
to
had
table.
3.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
Seconded by
Okay.
Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Just if you could maybe bring it to work session.
We'll talk to Janice.
All right, you're up again.
Yeah, 44321, authorize supervisor to sign a contract with LK McLean Associates PC to provide professional services for Diana Beach Pavilion.
Second?
Can I ask what this one is too?
Sure, it's an engineering assessment to hopefully find out that we only need repairs and not replacement.
I thought there was a conversation here about potentially moving it further from the ocean.
Yeah, that's down the road. This is to make sure we can use it as early as next year.
Okay. And, we had a conversation too about somehow connecting it to the activity center by way of some sort of boardwalk and to the life-saving station.
Well, yeah, every time we lose a little bit of sand, we really have to reassess what we're looking at, so we just want to make sure
This
it's
is
safe for the
just a
upcoming
study
season.
to
Yep.
relook at that.
Yep.
Let me just look at the resolution here.
Let me save it till then.
Because these are all we just walked on tonight. Give me 1 second.
It's 10 grand for,
Yeah, it's not.
Just an assessment on the condition.
Yep. So my reply from Kristen was an engineering assessment and recommended repairs to keep, the repairs to keep it open while we plan for the future.
Okay. All right, so, there's a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, we're at 44325 is warrant number 18, capital 18, CPF 18, and payroll liability.
second?
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 44328, notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 140, Community Preservation Fund to update administrative procedures for the CPF pilot plan payments.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. So, give me 1 second here. So this would be,
This is just setting the public hearing for what had been proposed.
this is beginning with the 23-24 tax year, which is the one coming. Now, is this the one that?
This allows us to set it, and the next one is what we're setting it at.
Okay, so this doesn't actually describe,
No, the next one
This
does.
is just a public hearing,
this is
what we,
procedural.
what's
Yes.
been proposed to us to present to the public.
Right, because now the state is allowing this pilot program, different than the original pilot program, but we have some work to do in terms of establishing who qualifies.
The next
Yes,
resolution, the
That's
next
the next
one
stage.
does that.
Okay, so, and when is this public hearing? This is
It's the
Tuesday, October 10th at
It's
1 p.m.
o'clock.
All right, so I'll make, did I already make a motion to approve?
Yes.
And there was, who was the second?
I
Rick.
second.
Who was it?
Or
talking
who
number
seconded? Did I second it?
You did.
I did.
John did.
I did.
Okay, John is seconding it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Okay, and now 44330, notice of public hearing to consider adoption of the annual CPF pilot payment plan 2023 through 2024 tax year.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. So this one,
This one lays out.
all right, this one does set the criteria that we are defining
Yes.
as a hardship, extreme financial hardship, I forget the language. Oh, yeah, extraordinary.
Extraordinary hardship.
Financial hardship. And we're saying that if it's more than, if you pay more than $5 per 1,000 of assessed valuation in your school district, if your tax rate for your school, right, is more than $5 per 1,000, you qualify so that lands taken off the tax rolls through the CPF program or other federal, state, and local preservation, we will reimburse, the CPF will reimburse the school for those lost
For
taxes.
that lost tax revenue.
For that lost tax revenue, but as long as the full valuation is less than 5 billion.
Correct.
And then in fire districts where your tax rate is greater than 50 cents per 1,000, you would then qualify for this pilot program in your fire district.
Yes.
And we will explain that more. But this again will be Tuesday, October 10th,
1 o'clock.
2023 at 1 o'clock. Okay. So we had a motion, and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. Okay, that's a little confusing. I believe that those, all the areas that have gotten CPF pilot programs in the past will continue to, at least in all the school districts.
Yes.
That's
But
correct.
there's
That was the goal.
But there are some additional qualifying school districts.
Correct.
And fire districts. Okay, is there any other business? Hearing none, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Seconded by all of you, seconded by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned, thank you.